What's up, y'all? Coach here, and I want to talk to you in this video going over some Tyranid stuff about Synapse. Now, everybody knows that Synapse is where the hive mind speaks to its little minions out there and it sends them out, and it makes them basically do what the hive mind wants it to do. So certain units have Synapse and certain units don't. So we're going to go over what needs to be done with Synapse, and now I'm going to go over the units that have it. I'm going to talk about Synapse. I'm not talking about if they're good or bad or viable or whatnot. We're just going to kind of go into it. Now, as far as Synapse creatures, 8 out of the 30 creatures in the Tyranid Codex have Synapse, which is basically the Hive Tyrants, the Swarm Lord, Tervagon, Tyranid Prime. The troops is the Warriors, Elites is Zoanthropes, Fast Attack is Shrikes, and heavy support is your Trigon Prime. Now, also, don't forget the Gene Stealers have their own Gestalt mind, which they can just don't need the Hive Tyrant. The Hive Mind. The Hive Mind sends them out, and they already know what they have to do. They're born killers, so they just go out there and wreck face, and they really don't need Synapse. That and them and the Broodlords. Now, these guys need Synapse. Okay, the Termagants, Hormagaunts, Gargoyles, Raveners, Tyranid Guard, Hive Guard, Venomthropes, the Ripper Swarms, Biovores, Exocran, Horospecs, Pyrovores, and Carnifexes. Now, the reason I mention these guys is that they all have leadership 6 or 7, and the Rippers have leadership 5. So now you're more likely to take a test for these guys if they're out of Synapse. If they're not in combat, or they're just out and about and some Synapse creature moves out of the way or dies, basically you're going to have to take a Synapse test with these guys. And I don't feel comfortable with leadership 6 or 7. They most likely will fail the test. Now, that's not saying anything that they won't pass their leadership test. Chances are, though, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to bet that they're going to fail the leadership test on 6 or 7. All right, now, the following guys don't have Synapse, or they're not Synapse creatures, and they need Synapse, but they're a little bit different because of their leadership. So let's go over them. Lictors have a leadership of 10. Morlocks, leadership 8. Trigon, leadership 8. Tyrannofex, leadership 8. Old One Eye, leadership 8. Death Leaper, leadership 10. Harpy, leadership 10. Crone, leadership 10. And the Lictors, like I said, leadership 10. Now, these guys have a high leadership. Okay? Lictors, the Crone and Harpy, and the Death Leaper all have leadership of 10. So, chances are, if you're rolling 2d6 for out of Synapse, you got to take your instinctive behavior test. Chances are you might pass it. Most likely going to pass it. So I was playing a NID player this weekend, and we were still working. I was working on my Space Marine list. He was working his NID list, trying to see what's working. And we had a few guys. His Morlock was out of Synapse range, but he really didn't care because it was leadership 10. And what happened was I went back there and I shot a bunch of things. He had 2 Zoanthropes, so I ended up killing them to kill the Synapse, and it actually took me 2 turns. Legion of Dead came down and shot one of them, and then I used one of my Storm Talons to shoot the other one down. So it took 2 turns, and they started taking their instinctive behavior test. Now, the Termagants failed on 6. He rolled like a 7, and one set ran off the table. The other set almost ran off the table. Then the Hive Tyrant came back, picked up the Synapse. He was able to run off, keep them on the board. But the Morlock was out of Synapse for about 3 rounds and 3 turns, and basically he just kept rolling 10, 9, 7, and he was good. So he ended up standing there. So my main focus of this video is when you have the high guy. So I have 4 different categories that you would have to use for Synapse. The first one is your HQ, your troops, the actual Synapse creatures. We don't have to discuss them because they're already in Synapse. And Gene Stealers. Now, I'm not discussing if Gene Stealers are good, bad, or ugly as far as the Codex is concerned, but they are not affected by the lack of Synapse, like I said before. Now, your little guys that I mentioned before, leadership 6 and 7. they are crucial. They need Synapse. They really do need Synapse, all right? So that's your main concern. And your high leadership, your 8 and 10s, which is the highest leaderships, is the Lictors, Crone Harpy, and Old One Eye. They basically have leadership 10. Morlocks, Trigons, Tyrannifexes, and Old One Eye have leadership 8, so they can function on their own. So when you're out there playing the mids, remember that the little guys, they're going to need Synapse. You're going to have to make sure you account for that and you have your Synapse up there. But your big guys, Morlocks, Old One Eye, Trigons, such high leadership that most likely you're not going to fail a test. And the Morlock, if he fails a test, basically, you know, he can burrow or go into reserve or whatever, but, you know, there's certain little tricks that you can use for him. But like I said, guys, so the higher the leadership, don't worry too much about Synapse. You should be aware of it because there is a chance that you might fail the Synapse test, but chances are with such a high leadership, especially leadership 10, you got to roll 11 or a 12. I would take a shot, you know, gamble with it and do it. So that's my wrap about Synapse and leadership. And if you have any more comments or questions, put them below. My last video got a bunch of guys had some great comments, so put it below. And as you see here, I got some unfinished models that I'm trying to paint up and get them ready to get in the game and get that rolling. So if you like this video, you have any comments or whatever, even if you have that Tyranids suck and you want to just make a comment below and say why or what you think would be good to make them better, just put that comment below. I really appreciate it when you guys do it because, like I said, we're trying to make this book really good. I don't want to hear the stuff that they suck. I want to know why they suck and how we can make it better. All right? So, guys, like, rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. So have a great day and see you Wargamers later.